Welcome everyone to Cure SMA's Summit of Strength virtual webinar series. This is Jessica from Cure SMA's Family Support Department, and we thank you all so much for joining with us today. We are incredibly thankful to our national presenting sponsors, Biogen, Genentech, and Novartis Gene Therapies, as well as platinum sponsor Scholar Rock for their support of the Summit of Strength virtual webinar series. We appreciate all of the questions we received in advance of this webinar, and we'll try to answer as many as we can during the presentation. You are also able to submit questions throughout the webinar by using the chat box feature, which you can find located on your GoToWebinar toolbar. Another feature we would like to mention, as our presenter will be using a live webcam for part of her presentation, is when her live webcam is shared, you will be able to enlarge your video by using the arrows on your personal webinar screen. This will allow you to see her demonstrations more clearly. Please note that all lines will remain muted during the webinar other than for speakers. And if you have any additional questions following the presentation, please contact Cure SMA's Family Support Team by emailing familyssupport@curesma.org. And now we'd like to welcome back our speaker, Anne Buckley-Reen, an occupational and yoga therapist, who today will be presenting on therapeutic yoga for teens and adults with SMA. Welcome, Anne.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Welcome, everybody. And a huge shout out to all of you who are here, especially my friend Peyton, whom I'm hoping it was able to join us today. Peyton's been one of my teachers for very many years. We've worked together. Peyton is a college student with SMA, and he and I have been working together since he's 4 years old. So we've learned a lot on our yoga journey, and we'll share some of that with you today. So let's go on to our next slide. So why yoga? Yoga is a really excellent tool for a balanced life. It has an impact not just on our physical body, but on our mind and on our spirit, on our energy levels. It really impacts our body, our comfort in our body, our breathing, and it supports balanced breath and improves our breathing status. It helps to promote circulation to our extremities, oxygenated blood flow to our brain and our body, and it really helps to create an energized, flexible body. It gives us a lot of resilience. We may notice that we're able to handle more with more equanimity. And our endurance for both physical and mental challenges improves. Also, and Patty and I discovered this many, many years ago, that a regular practice of yoga improves immune function. Early on in his life, Peyton used to get frequent pneumonia. And once we began to do yoga, his breath strengthened and his bouts of pneumonia slowly decreased and have not come back since. So yoga really also helps us with our mind. It helps us to have a calm mind. And in this day and age, we spend a lot of time on our computers. There's a lot of background noise often going on in our minds. And so it really helps us to be able to focus, to have clarity, to have a calm, open mind. And it helps our spirit to access positive emotions so that we feel more positive about everything. So let's move on to our next slide. So what we're going to do today is introduce all of you to a 5-part chair practice, seated practice that will incorporate what we've done on the floor on a mat into a chair practice. So this is pretty much a take everywhere with you practice. The 5-part practice includes breathing exercises, a series of postures, and there are postures that energize us, that calm us, that organize us. Those are the basics, and then we'll talk about a few more as we go on, okay? Once we complete our series of postures, we're going to do a little relaxation exercise, and that progressive relaxation is going to help us to integrate the benefits of our practice. We take a couple of minutes, we just focus inward, and you'll just follow my guidance. After that, we'll do a little back and forth sing-song. That's called our circle of song. We'll vibrate our lungs, we'll share some rhythmic energy, and then we'll conclude with a meditation. So let's move forward and see what's next here. So preparing for yoga, it's really important that we have a space, a place, a quiet place that we can practice our yoga. This can mean that you can just be in your chair in a room, close the door, and ask people to please be mindful and not make any noise while you're doing your practice. If you live with others, if you're by yourself, you want to turn off any other devices that might interfere during your practice. And you want to just close your eyes for a few minutes and just calm. Okay, focus inward. We're shifting our focus from out here and everything that's going on in the world to inside and noticing what's going on in here. Okay, so we prepare our space. We may want to play some nice soothing music in the background when we do our practice. And you can access lovely yoga music online on the internet. Just Google yoga music. And there's very nice, lovely entrainment music. I'll put a sample on in a few minutes when we begin our practice. Okay? Next slide, please. So it's great to, before we start our formal practice, to do a little warm-up massage. And if you are able to do this yourself or have someone who can do this along with you, this is a great way to just get the body and get the circulation going, to feel the body better. So what we do is we just are going to tap our arm from our hand up to our shoulder, up and down. And if someone is doing this with you, it's always important before somebody puts their hands on you that you take a moment, you think a positive thought. And I like to think, the positive thought I like to think when I'm helping Katie and we're doing our practice is, I just think in my head, I'm here to help. Okay? What you don't want is to have somebody be thinking, am I doing this the right way? Because then they'll be uncomfortable touching you and you'll feel that discomfort. So you want to be comfortable and you want the person who may be assisting you, if you have someone assisting you, to be comfortable as well. Okay? So we can pat. If tapping or patting is not comfortable, we can just do a deep rub of our arms. We want to just massage the muscles up and down and into our hands, up to our shoulders. Okay, do both arms. And then with some nice deep pressure, rub the outside of our legs down to our feet, or as far down as we can go. So just deep pressure on the outside of our legs, up and down the legs. This massage, you can spend as much time as you like doing your warm-up massage. Today, I'm just giving you a little introduction to this, okay? And come on back up. Okay, so now let's move on to our next slide. And we'll talk just for a moment about breathing exercises. In yoga, there are hundreds of breathing exercises. And our breathing exercises can do a number of different things for us, for our physiology. First of all, breathing is something that we do without thinking about it often, but we can also take control of the breath. And that's something that in yoga, it's called pranayama. And when we take control of our breath, we can regulate the speed of our breath, the depth of our breath, and we can also help our breath support. So there are many, many, many different ways to do breathing exercises. We're going to just do some simple ones today, okay? So on our next slide, I believe, but I'll start right now with just showing you what a sample of a sound breath looks like. So when we sound the breath, we can hear how long our exhalation is. And to build breath capacity, we want our exhalation to be longer than our inhalation. So wherever you begin, you breathe in, and then as you breathe out, you sound the breath. And we can start with simple vowel sounds. So we can do an ah. Okay, so try that with me and do it for as long or short as you can do it. So a breath in, make sure you're sitting up straight, your chest is open, and let's make the sound of ah. Okay, so that's one sample of a sound breath, right? We can do vowel sounds, the sound of ah, the sound of e, and always take a breath between your vocalizations, right? Another way to do breathing exercises is to not to sound it, but to change your posture. So you will notice If you can, when you lift your arms up, you naturally breathe in. So inhalation and extension go together, or even sitting up straight in the chair, we breathe in naturally. As we fold forward, this facilitates us breathing out. So notice that if you can come up and down, you inhale on the up and you breathe out on the down. And this is called posture supported breathing. You can start with 2 or 3 breaths. You can build yourself up to 10 to 20 breaths. After you do your breathing exercises, you should always feel grounded and calm, never lightheaded. That means you're actually inhaling more than you're exhaling. Okay? So start with a couple of simple breaths and we'll move on from there. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. And the other things that are listed on this slide, we will be actually practicing during our practice today. Okay, so we just did a little sound breath and a posture supported breath. So we're going to move on to our next slide. And we'll begin a little chair practice. So take a moment, get yourself comfortable. If you are in your chair and you can safely, if you have a chest harness on and you can safely remove that, do so, okay? But we keep our seatbelt on during practice. If you can remove an armrest or a side guard, that's fine, if that's comfortable for you and safe. Otherwise, leave your chair as it is, okay? So this practice is designed to be done in our wheelchair. If you're able to transition out of a chair, not using a chair at this point, you can sit in a supported chair, preferably one that has armrests. I'm going to turn on some music. I'm going to ask you to just sit with your feet flat on your foot plates or on the floor. Place your hands on your knees and close your eyes. I'm going to begin to play some music. It should happen any minute now. So let's begin with our eyes closed and just focus on the in and out of our breathing. If your nose is congested and it's difficult to breathe in and out through your nose, open your mouth slightly. Now let's open our eyes and let's begin our movements. We'll start with head movements. Let's turn our head over to one side, back to center, and then over to the other side, and back to center. Let's do that again. Turn and look. Go as far as you comfortably can and don't force it. Inhale back to center. And as we exhale, we turn to the other side. If any of the postures that we're doing are uncomfortable for you, only due to your level of comfort and to your level of movement. I'm going to do each pose twice. If you want to watch the first time and then join in the second time, please, that's fine, okay? Our next posture, we're going to do chin to chest. So let's take a breath in and sit up straight. And then as we breathe out, let's bring our chin down to our chest. Inhale, bring our head back to midline. I'll do that again. So take a breath in. And as we breathe out, let's bring our chin down to our chest. Inhale, come on back up. Let's now bring our shoulders up to our ears. So we're going to roll our shoulders up to our ears and then roll them back and bring them down. So the way we do this is we inhale our shoulders up, and then roll them back. And as we breathe out, we release them all the way down. Let's fold our arms, holding on to our elbows. Let's lift our arms up, slowly up to our chin, our nose, our forehead, wherever you can comfortably go as we breathe in and out. On our next exhalation, let's bring our arms all the way down. Let's do that again. So let's take a breath in, and our arms come up. And then as we breathe out, we slowly lower our arms back down to our body. Great. Now we're going to do a side opening pose. And this pose is very helpful for all the supportive breathing muscles on the sides of our body. So we're going to, if we can, we're going to turn our palm up. Here, if someone is helping, they can support you under your wrist and at your shoulder. And we're going to scoop the air up. Scoop that air up and look up. And then when we're ready to breathe out, we're going to turn our hand and push the air away. So again, we might have our hands in a neutral position. Let's scoop that air up. And if it's too much to look up, just look straight ahead. And when you're ready to breathe out, we push the air away. Let's do that to the other side. Palm up. Let's scoop up. Scoop all the way up and look up. And then as you breathe out, turn your hand and push the air away. Let's do that again. When you're ready, palm facing up, we're in a neutral position. Let's bring that arm up over our head. And when you're ready to breathe out, let's bring that hand back down alongside our body. Great. From here, let's do a little spinal twist. So we're going to take, I'm going to mirror you. So we're going to take our right hand, which is on this side of the screen. We're going to bring it across to our left leg. Place your hand on the outside of your knee. We're going to bring our left hand behind us or alongside of us. We're going to take a breath in. And as we breathe out, we're going to twist and look over our shoulder. And take a couple of breaths here. And on our next breath out, come on back to center. Let's repeat this to the other side. So now we're going to take our left hand, bring it across our right knee, outside of our right knee. Okay, our right arm goes behind our back or a little behind us. We take a breath in. And as we breathe out, we twist and look over that right shoulder. Keep breathing. On our next breath out, we come back to center. Now we're going to stimulate a little bit more our stomach muscles, our digestive muscles. So we're going to begin by bringing our right leg up to our chest. So if you're able to lift your right leg up, please do. If someone's helping, they can put their hands about 2 inches below your knee. And let's take a breath in and hug that knee up to our chest. Make sure it's not splaying out, it's in good alignment, and look forward. On our next breath out, let's bring that leg back down, and we'll repeat to the other side. So now let's take our left leg, hands below the knee. Let's take a breath in, and let's bring that knee up to our chest. And any pose that you're not able to do, just visualize yourself doing the pose. If you can't physically do it visually in your mind. Next exhalation, let's bring that foot back down to our mat. And we'll do that one more time. So let's bring our right knee as we inhale up to our chest. And as we breathe out, let's bring that foot back down onto the floor or our foot plate. Let's now bring our left knee up to our chest. So inhale, knee comes up. And then as we breathe out, let's bring that foot back down onto the mat. Okay. From here, we're going to just give our hips a little bit of circulation. So with our hands on our knees, we're going to gently rock our hips from side to side. Side to side, and back to center. Let's do that again. Let's gently rock our hips from side to side. And come on back to center. Okay. From here, we'll move into a seated forward bend. So for our seated forward bend, we'll place our hands on our knees. We'll take a breath in. And as we breathe out, we're going to gently fold forward as far as is comfortable, bringing our head down to our knees or as far as we can fold. Keep breathing. And on our next inhalation, slowly come back up to sitting. When you're ready, we'll do that again. So let's take a breath in. And as we breathe out, let's slowly fold forward, sliding our hands down our legs, bringing our forehead to our knees. We're just coming as far forward as is comfortable. You may notice on your second try, you go a little bit further. And then let's inhale and come on back up. Okay. From here, we're going to cross one knee over the other. So I'll take my right knee and cross it over my left leg. And I'm going to take my left arm, my right arm, and cross it over my left. So I can be giving myself a hug, my upper body, my lower body, my legs are crossed. What we're going to do here is we're going to tense the muscles, squeeze the muscles, pulling ourselves together, tight, tight, tight. Keep breathing, and then relax and release. Open up, uncross your legs, and we'll repeat to the other side. So let's take our left leg and cross it over our right, and let's take our left arm and cross it over our left. Let's take a breath in. And as we breathe out, let's tense and squeeze all of our muscles. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then relax and release. Open your arms, open your legs, and back to center. It's time to give a little input to our spine. So we're going to place our hands on our knees, and we're going to open our knees a little bit and stick our belly out as we drop our head back. Our shoulders are back and down. And then we're going to curl and look at our belly. So let's breathe in and arch. And breathe out and curl. Again, breathe in and arch. And breathe out and curl. Great. And come on back to an upright seated posture. Now let's extend both legs out. We can put our heels on our foot plates, so our toes are pointing up, and we're going to just do a leg stretch here. So if you want to extend your leg rest out and just let your feet stretch, your legs stretch, okay? You can keep your hands placed on your knees. Just do this gentle stretch Or you can place your heels against the edge of your foot plate or on the floor and just stretch your legs all the way out. We spend a lot of time sitting. Our knees may be tight. Okay, a lot of that soft tissue thickens up pretty quickly. So let's get a nice leg stretch in here. Keep breathing. Now let's slide our feet back. And let's work on our feet and our toes a little bit. So with our heels planted, let's point our toes up towards the sky and then down to the floor. So feet go up to the sky and then down to the floor. Let's do that 2 more times. Feet up to the sky, down to the floor. And again, feet up to the sky and down to the floor. Let's do some foot circles. So let's make some symmetrical circles with our feet. I don't know if you can see my feet off screen, so I'm just going to do some nice foot circles. First in one direction, and then back the other way. Okay, again, let's circle in one direction, and then let's go back the other way. Okay, put our feet back on the floor, and let's just wiggle our toes a little bit. So let those toes come up and down, flexing and extending. Right. Get that circulation going to our feet. We can even pedal our feet if we like. One and then the other. And then we'll relax both of our feet back down on the ground or on our foot plates. All right, so from here, let's prepare for a few moments of deep relaxation. Before we do that, I'd like you to just check your body and notice if there's any other movement that your body feels like it would like to do. And before we deeply relax, give yourself an opportunity for one more stretch. Any stretch that you would like to do. Okay. And now let's prepare ourselves for a few moments of deep relaxation. So for deep relaxation, I'm going to ask that if you can, you're going to recline your chair a little bit or slide down in your chair, bring your head back, as long as you have something to support your head against. Place your hands in your lap or on your legs. Close your eyes and listen to the sound of my voice. We're going to do a progressive relaxation that begins with our toes and works up our entire body. This is going to help us release any areas of tension or stress that we may be holding. So let's begin by bringing our awareness to our right foot. Bring your awareness to the top of your foot, the sole of your foot, the arch of your foot. Bring your awareness to your heels and your toes. Point your toes up towards your nose. Tense the muscles in your foot. Squeeze and hold and tense, but keep breathing. And then relax that foot totally and let it melt into the floor. Let it soften and relax. Now let's bring our awareness from our toes up to our knees. You may want to stretch your leg a little bit if you can. And let's tense the muscles in the lower part of our leg. So we can point our toes up towards our nose and squeeze and hold that tension. Keep breathing. And on our next breath out, relax those muscles. Let that leg, let the muscles soften and relax. Release any tension that we're holding. Now let's bring our awareness from our hips all the way down to our feet. We can squeeze our upper leg against our other leg. Squeeze and hold. Squeeze and hold tensing all of those muscles, and then relax and release. Let your legs drop open gently, let them soften and relax. Let's do our other leg. So let's bring our awareness now to our right leg. Let's point our toes up towards our nose and down to the floor. And let's tense and squeeze all of the muscles now in this right foot. From our toes to our heels, our arches. You can point your toes for this or flex your toes. Just squeeze and hold. And then relax and release. Lower that foot down onto the floor, onto your foot plate. Soften all the muscles, release any tension that we're holding. Let's bring our awareness now from our ankles up to our knees. Let's tighten the muscles. Squeeze and tense those muscles. You can just push your both legs together. Tension there in your lower leg, your left lower leg. I'm sorry, your right lower leg. Squeeze and hold. Tense and hold. And then relax and release. Now let's bring our awareness from our hips down to our toes on our right side. Squeeze and tense and hold. Squeeze those muscles. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then relax and release. Soften from your hips all the way down to your toes. Keeping your eyes closed, keeping your breath soft. Deeply relax each part of your body. Let's bring our awareness now to our belly. Place your hand on your belly. One hand can be on your belly and another on your chest, or both hands on your belly. And just feel the in and out of your breathing. As we breathe in, our belly fills and expands. As we breathe out, our belly deflates and empties. We may notice that we're breathing more in our chest than in our belly or diaphragm. Wherever your breath is and wherever it's coming from, just notice it. Notice the in and out rhythm and float on your breathing. With each breath, bring in peace and relaxation into your body. With each exhalation, release that which does not serve you. Stress, tension, discomfort, breathe it out. Now let's place our hands back on our legs. And let's make a fist with both hands. Let's tighten our hands. Let's squeeze our hands. Tense and tighten both hands, arms up to our shoulders. Squeeze and hold. Squeeze, 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 and then open your fingers and relax and release. Now gently swallow any excess saliva that might be in your mouth. Open your mouth slightly. Let's turn our head gently from side to side and back to center. Let's do that again. And back to center. Let's relax our jaw. So let's open our mouth slightly and let's bring our tongue away from the roof of our mouth. Soften your cheeks. Relax your eyes and your eyebrows. Relax the point between your eyes. Soften your forehead. Relax the top of your head, the sides of your head, and the back of your head. Relax each and every part of you, scanning your body from the top of your head to the tips of your toes, Each breath in, breathing in fresh, positive energy, and each breath out, releasing stress, tension, or discomfort. And just float here for another few breaths. Now, when you're ready, begin to move in any way that feels comfortable. Give yourself a nice little stretch. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Move your head a little bit gently. And come back up to an upright posture with your reclined back. And from here, we'll move on to our circle of song. So now that we've moved our body, we've worked on our circulation and our flexibility, mobility, comfort level, and we've deeply relaxed and gotten rid of our stress, now we're going to infuse some more energy into our body. And we're going to do this with our circle of song. So our circle of song is a back and forth sing song. And I'm going to ask Sarah and Jessica to sing along with me, and anyone else who would like to, who's here. I will sing to you, you sing back to me. We're going to be vibrating our lungs and our vocal cords, our breathing apparatus, okay? And we're going to be singing a traditional, since we're adults and teens here, a traditional Sanskrit chant. This is over 6,000 years old, and this goes along with our yoga teachings. So the circle of song is a way of sharing rhythm and harmony. It helps the rhythm and harmony in our own body, and it helps us as we do this back and forth connection, okay? So I'll go first, and then I'll point to you, and you sing back to me, all right? Om Hari Om Hari Om Hari Om Hari Om Hari Om Hari Om.
Om Hari Om Hari Om Hari Om Om Hari Om Hari Om Hari Om
Om Hari Om Hari Om Hari Om Hari Om Hari Om Hari Om.
Om Hari Om Hari Om Hari Om
Om Hari Om Hari Om Hari Om Hari Om Hari Om Hari Om.
Om Hari Hari Om Hari Om Hari Om Hari Om.
Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om.
Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om.
Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om.
Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti
Om Shanti
Om Shanti Om.
Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om.
Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om.
Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om.
Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti
Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om. Om Prema
Om Shanti
Om Prema Om Prema Om Prema Om. Do it. Om
Om
Prema,
Prema, Om Prema, Om Prema, Om Prema, Om Prema, Om Prema, Om.
Om Hari, Om Hari, Om Hari, Om Hari, Om Hari, Om Hari, Om. Om Hari,
Om Hari, Om Hari, Om Hari,
Om
Om Hari, Om Hari, Om Hari, Om.
Om Jyoti, Om Jyoti, Om Jyoti, Om Jyoti, Om Jyoti, Om Jyoti, Om. Om Jyoti,
Om
Jyoti,
Jyoti,
Om Jyoti, Om Jyoti, Om Jyoti, Om Jyoti,
Jyoti.
Om.
Beautiful. We were getting it there at the end. Okay. Take a deep breath in.
We tried. Thank you, Anne.
That was very, very good. Okay. How are we feeling? Do we feel the energy of that song?
Definitely.
Feels great.
Okay, good. All right. So we just sang for peace, joy, love, and light in an ancient language from India. Okay. That's Sanskrit. Now it's time for us to conclude our practice for our adults and teens with a little meditation. So there's lots of different ways to meditate. And today our meditation will involve just focusing on our breath and counting the in and out of our breath. So we can breathe in for a slow count of 3, and then try to breathe out for a slow count of 4. So there's a rhythm here. We go in, we fill up, and then we breathe out and we empty. So float on the breath and count. Everyone's breath is going to be different. So count your own breath. And what you're going to try to do is just count a slow count. 1, 2, 3. And then as you're breathing out, you want to take it a little bit longer. 1, 2, 3, 4, perhaps. Okay? So let's float on your own breath. I'm going to put the music back on. And let's just spend a few moments following our breath in and out. If you lose track, just come back to what we're doing. Okay? And begin. And now let's take one more nice, long, slow, deep breath in. A nice, long, slow, deep breath out. Let's open our eyes and bring our awareness back into the room. So that was a little short meditation. What I'd like you to do now is just close your eyes for a moment and check in with your body and your brain. Check in with your energy. Check in with your thoughts. Notice if there's a difference. Notice what you feel. Hopefully, you're all feeling a little something. So let's conclude our practice and seal in the benefits of our practice with a final spinal twist. So let's begin by twisting over to the right, looking over our right shoulder as we breathe out. Let's inhale back to center. And on our next exhalation, let's twist and look over our other shoulder. And back to center. From here, we're going to seal in the benefits of our practice. And we do this by folding forward. Our arms can be alongside our legs or behind our back. Bring your head down. This is called a yogic seal pose. And slowly come back up. At the end of our yoga practice, we wish each other namaste. Namaste means the highest in me bows to the highest in you. So namaste and thank you.
Thank you so much, Anne. Hi, everyone. This is Colleen McCarthy-O'Toole with the Cure SMA Family Support Department. Next, we're going to go over a question that has come through from our community. Anne, how would yoga work for adults with extremely limited or no ability to move?
So yoga can be very, very powerful using visualization. What happens when you visualize is you are actually stimulating the same pathways and the same cellular pathways in your body and brain. So you listen and you focus on the body part that we're moving and you visualize yourself moving that body part, okay? Visualization is very, very powerful and it can help with increasing mobility. It can also help with decreasing pain and stiffness. I had the opportunity the learning opportunity to be in a 2 years ago, and I was unable to move at all. But I knew that I needed my daily practice just to help me find balance in the journey that I was going on. And so before I was reclined in a hospital bed, and I would put on my yoga tape and listen to it, close my eyes, visualize myself doing the practice. And then after the practice, I felt prepared, I felt ready. I could feel the difference in my body and in my mind. I felt calmer and more comfortable in my body. And I just felt more settled, more in homeostasis. So visualization is a very, very powerful tool. And it's important to use visualization whenever you can't actively, physically do it, you do it in your mind, okay?
Great. Thank you again for such a great presentation, Anne. We really appreciate it. Now we'd like to go ahead and introduce Carol Kelly, representing Novartis Gene Therapies, who will be sharing their presentation, Zolgensma, Steps to Treatment and Support. Carol?
Hi, thank you, Colleen, and thank you, Anne, for that time to relax and de-stress a little bit. I surely needed it. And thanks to all of you joining the presentation on Zolgensma, Steps to Treatment and Support. Intended for U.S. residents only, Zolgensma's indication and safety profile will be covered. Also, the prescribing information for Zolgensma and a Colorado price disclosure short form, if applicable, will be available for you to download, and you can find that on the bar on the right side of your screen. Next slide, please. So our agenda for today's presentation will include a notification of our company's name change, an overview of Zolgensma, how it works, and important details about the One Gene program and resources available when making a timely and informed treatment decision. Next slide. Thank you. Avexis is now Novartis Gene Therapies. And although our organization's name has changed, our commitment to you, our patients, and our families, and the SMA community remains steadfast. We're proud to be a part of the SMA community and the groundbreaking advancements in treatment, including our initial gene therapy. We continue to focus on research and development, manufacturing, and commercialization of innovative gene therapies targeting rare and devastating diseases. Zolgensma, or onasemnogene abeparvovec, XIOI, has been approved in Japan, Brazil, and the European Union, and of course the United States. And we continue to pursue registration in nearly 36 other countries, including Switzerland, Canada, and Australia. The progress in gene therapy for SMA is also leading the way for gene therapy in other disease states, including those in the Novartis Gene Therapies pipeline for Rett syndrome, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis SOD1 or ALS, and Friedreich's ataxia. Next slide, please. So what do you need to know about Zolgensma? Zolgensma is an FDA-approved prescription gene therapy and used to treat children less than 2 years old with SMA. Zolgensma is given as a one-time infusion, given intravenously or through a vein that takes 60 minutes. Zolgensma has not been evaluated in patients with advanced SMA, those needing permanent ventilatory dependence or paralysis of limbs. It is important to note that treatment is urgent and should not be delayed. So now let's watch a brief video on Zolgensma's mechanism of action and important safety information. Next slide, please.
A dedicated team of scientists has developed a targeted approach for treating spinal muscular atrophy using a one-time only gene therapy called Zolgensma, onasemnogene apaparvovec XIOI. Gene therapy targets the genetic root cause of spinal muscular atrophy, or SMA, by replacing the function of the non-working or missing gene that causes SMA, called the survival motor neuron 1 gene, or SMN1 gene. The SMN1 gene is very important because it's the body's main source for making SMN protein. SMN protein is used throughout the body, and it is essential to motor neuron cell survival. Motor neuron cells are responsible for communicating with the muscles and telling them to work properly. In addition to the SMN1 gene, the body also has a backup gene called the SMN2 gene. People can have one or more copies of this backup gene. In a person with SMA, the SMN1 gene is not working properly or is missing, and SMN protein cannot be made by the SMN1 gene. This is extremely serious because the SMN1 gene typically makes most of the SMN protein your body needs. When the SMN1 gene cannot make SMN protein, the body relies on the SMN2 backup genes for this. Unfortunately, the SMN2 gene makes only about 10% of working protein compared to the protein produced by the SMN1 gene. That means that people with fewer SMN2 copies won't make enough SMN protein. The severity of SMA is related to the number of copies of the SMN2 gene. SMA type 1 is the most common type of SMA and is very serious. Individuals with SMA type 1 typically have only 2 SMN2 backup genes. Without enough SMN protein, motor neuron cells become weaker and weaker and eventually stop working, lose all function, and die. As a result, muscles can become so weak that eating, breathing, and moving become difficult, and the disease becomes life-threatening. Let's learn how Zolgensma works to treat SMA. It has 2 parts, a gene and a vector, and is made in a laboratory by scientists. First, let's focus on the gene. It's a new working copy of a human SMN gene that replaces the function of the non-working or missing SMN1 gene to restore SMN protein production in the motor neuron cells. Now, let's look at the vector. The vector used by Zolgensma is made from a virus called adeno-associated virus 9, or AAV9. This type of virus does not make people sick. To make the vector, the DNA of the virus is removed. With the DNA gone, the fully functional SMN gene is placed inside the vector. The reason why Zolgensma uses vectors to deliver the new genes is because they can travel quickly throughout the body to the motor neuron cells. But how does Zolgensma work? Once inside the body, the vectors deliver new working copies of SMN genes to the motor neuron cells. Zolgensma sits inside the nucleus of the motor neuron cell and does not become part of the child's DNA. Then, the new genes tell the motor neuron cells to start making SMN protein. This process happens repeatedly throughout the body, with many vectors delivering new SMN genes to motor neuron cells so that SMN protein can be made in those cells. Once the genes reach their destination, the vectors are broken down and excreted from the body. Zolgensma, changing the future of SMA treatment. Indication and important safety information. What is Zolgensma? Zolgensma is a prescription gene therapy used to treat children less than 2 years old with spinal muscular atrophy, SMA. Zolgensma is given as a one-time infusion into the vein. Zolgensma was not evaluated in patients with advanced SMA. What is the most important information I should know about Zolgensma? liver enzymes could become elevated and cause acute serious liver injury in children who receive Zolgensma. Patients will receive an oral corticosteroid before and after infusion with Zolgensma and will undergo regular blood tests to monitor liver function. Contact the patient's doctor immediately if the patient's skin and/or whites of the eyes appear yellowish, or if the patient misses a dose of the corticosteroid or vomits it up. What should I watch for before and after infusion with Zolgensma? Viral respiratory infections before or after Zolgensma infusion can lead to more serious complications. Contact the patient's doctor immediately if you see signs of a possible viral respiratory infection such as coughing, wheezing, sneezing, runny nose, sore throat, or fever. Decreased platelet counts could occur following infusion with Zolgensma. Seek immediate medical attention if a patient experiences unexpected bleeding or bruising. What do I need to know about vaccinations and Zolgensma? Talk with the patient's doctor to decide if adjustments to the vaccination schedule are needed to accommodate treatment with a corticosteroid. Protection against respiratory syncytial virus, RSV, is recommended. Do I need to take precautions with the patient's bodily waste? Temporarily, small amounts of Zolgensma may be found in the patient's stool. Use good hand hygiene when coming into direct contact with the bodily waste for 1 month after infusion with Zolgensma. Disposable diapers should be sealed in disposable trash bags and thrown out with regular trash. What are the possible or likely side effects of Zolgensma? The most common side effects that occurred in patients treated with Zolgensma were elevated liver enzymes and vomiting. The safety information provided here is not comprehensive. Talk to the patient's doctor about any side effects that bother the patient or that don't go away. You are encouraged to report suspected side effects by contacting the FDA at 1-800-FDA-1088 or www.fda.gov/medwatch or Avexis at 833-828-3947. Please see the full prescribing information at Zolgensma.com.
Thank you. Next slide, please. Thank you. So the available resources for you and your baby are going to be discussed next when prescribed Zolgensma, and the services provided through the One Gene program and our dedicated website, Zolgensma.com. Next slide, please. The One Gene program is a dedicated team of trained professionals helping to ensure that every family has the support they need. Their work starts when the prescription and consent form are received from your doctor. Next slide. Working closely alongside the One Gene program case coordinator is a dedicated patient resource manager. The PRM, that's the acronym for Patient Resource Manager, is your main point of contact on behalf of Novartis Gene Therapies, and they provide expert guidance and support through the treatment journey. Your patient resource manager can also help you with treatment site logistics, and after approval, you will receive a welcome call and a personalized letter from your regional patient resource manager. Once your baby's infusion is complete, you'll receive a post-treatment kit explaining what to expect after infusion of Zolgensma. Next slide. Along with the case coordinator and the patient resource manager is a dedicated field reimbursement manager, or FRM, who stands side by side your doctor to help navigate insurance requirements and authorizations. The FRM also is aware of the pharmacy process in your particular institution and the shipment journey to ensure Zolgensma is delivered to the right place at the right time. You can contact the One Gene program case coordinators Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the number there is 855-441-GENE or 4363. And we also provide translation services upon request. Next slide. I would like to strongly encourage all of you to view the helpful resources provided at Zolgensma.com. This website is very helpful when helping to explain SMA to family members or friends. Take a look at the multiple family stories about their personal Zolgensma journeys. Next slide. As a reminder, once your doctor has discussed Zolgensma as an option for treating your baby with SMA, you can review the steps to treatment on Zolgensma.com. Next slide. There are many available resources to educate yourself and others, family members, school nurses, and other important persons in your child's life by utilizing the Facts About SMA and the Caregiver Guide. SMA After Treatment outlines the potential members of your child's healthcare team, supportive therapies, and how a nutritionist may be beneficial for growth and development of your baby. Next slide. Coming in mid to late November at Novartis Gene Therapies, we are going to offer the SMA Atlas platform, a compendium of articles, videos, and stories to help guide parents and caregivers learn from their experience through their valuable advice and tips. Next slide. Again, please take a look at our amazing superstars at Zolgensma.com. We also want to recognize the significant impact the COVID-19 pandemic has had on all of our communities. We encourage you to work with your doctor on best ways to protect you and your family during this unprecedented time. Next slide. And thank you. Thank you so much for joining us, Novartis Gene Therapies. We appreciate your taking time to be a part of this Summit of Strength virtual webinar, and we do look forward to seeing you again in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you again to both of our wonderful speakers for your time and fantastic presentations today. We appreciate everyone who joined in on this webinar. You'll be receiving a follow-up email with a survey link, and we welcome any feedback that you have to share. We're also thankful for the incredible support from our sponsors for making the Summit of Strength virtual webinar series possible. If there's anything that we can do for you, or if you have any additional questions, please email us at familysupport@curesma.org. Have a great day, everyone.